My name is Mackie, and welcome everyone to the final First Stand report of First Stand 2026 in Sao Paulo. Before I'm going to talk about the series as a whole, what are my thoughts, and what is going to be the expectation for the rest of the year, and by the way, some updates that's going to be taking place this year between MSI and Worlds. I want to thank you all for subscribing the channel, for clicking the like button, for viewing the videos, for all of that stuff. Because of you, it has been incredible to see the amount of love that I have for this channel, for all of these stuff, and you just made this entire thing possible. And for that, I thank you. I thank you all for doing it. And yeah, it's been a blast. This entire tournament was a blast from start to finish. Remember, this whole thing was like a 1 week, Zoom like that. It's over, quick and done. But the incredible memories, the incredible performances will last a lifetime. To some teams, of course. And unfortunately, I have some. I could let's just call it good news, bad news kind of thing. The bad news is that the LEC have finally conquered in the hands of the mighty LPL. To which I said, the good news about it, the LPL are back. After 3 long years, LPL are now back on top of the world, and for the very first time ever, BLG are world champions. I know. It's weird to say those words. BLG are won an international tournament. Of all the tournaments to win, MSI, maybe Worlds, of course, in 2024 when Faker being clutch. This, this is the tournament they've won. And I know this is not against like the Gen G of the world, and fine, I get it. You wanted to nitpick this whole thing. Go ahead, be my guest. But the way G2 have performed against Fearx and against Gen G in most cases, it pretty much put some, cast a seed of doubt in my head and just feel like, okay, I have BLG winning this series 3-1. But if G2 can actually show me that level that they did in the last 2 days, then I believe they can actually pull it off. But even I know this is a hard thing to do. Let's just break down the entire series as a whole. Game 1 was kind of lost for G2 in most cases. It was dire. Well, not dire in most cases. It was an absolute dire situation early on in the bot lane. Shun getting an absolute wall up in the Poppy, and Skumon can't even do anything most of the time. Han Sama in the bot lane cannot do anything much. And you're thinking to yourself, well, that is G2 loss, of course. But I said in my preview that the only player that I wanted to see to put up a credible performance was Caps. And Caps Aurora was spectacular. 12, 0, and 7. That is the most important number. 0 was the most important number. 83% kill participation. 37.1k damage. He was literally the engine that drives G2 into that victory. And listen, at around, let's just say, around like 27 minutes, you're thinking to yourself, well, BLG have the goal lead. They have the goal lead. They have like a huge goal lead around that time. And you're thinking to yourself, well, G2 is going to lose. And it's going to be a 3-0 sweep, and everybody will be the known the wiser. This game is a pretty tense. It was tense for like 40 minutes, to be honest. I was at the edge of my seat at that time. Let me tell you something. I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning for this fun. I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning, went to Nightmare's, streaming, of course. I was prepared for an historical day. And at around that minute, around like about 30 minutes, you're thinking to yourself, well, BLG is going to clap G2, and it is what it is, and I'll be okay with that. But then the final team fight happened, in which Caps literally went off. Han Summon just absolutely just firing like balls, you can say that in Yunora, and just absolutely won the team fight. Bin Nar tried his best, like literally tried his best, but it didn't work. And G2 won their 7th straight game against an Asian team. And at that point, all of Europe was thinking to yourself, maybe they can do this. Maybe they can actually pull this off. The problem with this is that, to quote the Best Picture movie, they have taken one battle after another against every Asian teams, and it's just only a matter of time before the psychological damage will crack them. Of the fact that BLG are just way, way too stronger than you expect. And if you're thinking this is a night performance, I'm sorry to tell you, this was not a brilliant night performance at all for not only game one from the entire series. This was not a great night performance at all. But these two is going to have a say in this entire series. So as we go to game two, it was, how do I say this? It was a hard game. Labrov just not great on the board, to be honest. Hans Sama just got absolutely destroyed. Caps tried his best, like literally tried his best to kill off some other champions. And you can have Skumon and Broken Blade has your tank damage, of course, in most cases. How are you going to kill a Pantheon, a Galio, and a Shen with global ultimate, and a Gwen that has the R to like mitigate damage? How are you going to kill all that damage? Shun was amazing on Pantheon. Bin Gwen was frightening. Viper did something on the as well, and even on put us an incredible performance on the Shen. This was really too much for G2 to handle. And it was slowly being that night. It had lasted, 39-33. And then, I mean, there's one point, of course, throughout the entire game. This was a typical, BLG throw-in right there. At this point, you're thinking, like, oh, BLG are throwing. This is BLG throwing, guys. But at that point, you're feeling like, yeah, not happening. Not happening. And then game 3 and game 4 was kind of like the walls just fell on them. Like, it fell on G2. Keep this in mind that Caps is the only player on G2 to have ever been to an international finals. He has been to 2 international finals, actually 3 if you count the Fnatic 2018. So he's the only player on that team to ever been to a finals internationally. The rest of G2 have not. Meanwhile, you got the entire BLG team that has been there, done that, have a great coaching staff, and Coach Dandy, who's actually put up a incredible performance. And you got 5 incredible players who knows how to play. Even if, by the way, Knight have a good performance in Mel in game 3, but even if Knight doesn't have the great performance, Ben just once again having an absolute mind-boggling performance on that Jax. Actually, it's Ben's Jax. What do you expect? Viper with the incredible Ashe ulti. On Seraphine with those incredible ults. Like, it was just too much for G2 to handle. What can G2 do? Like, look at G2's team. Yeah, Broken Blades, not great. Skumon, not great. Caps tried, I guess. Hans Sama, his R's, man. His Varus R's was just, oh, no. He just missed a lot of R's. He missed a lot of R's throughout the entire game. It was just criminal from Hans Sama. Criminal from him. And BLG's composition just overran them, of course. Literally overran them. And it ended around 28-15. And then at that point, at 2-1, you're thinking to yourself, part of yourself just wanted game 5 and have some hope for G2. The other part, it has that feeling of like, BLG are just one big moment away from just literally topple over G2 and just destroy them and end it. But game 4 was weird, to be honest. Was absolutely weird. Now, listen. At that point, G2, started off doing decently. Hans Sama getting a couple of kills. Caps is doing firing range. Skumon being a little tanky, of course. And, at around, let's just say, about 8 minutes or so, around here, let's just call it around here, all the way up to there, we were about to get game 5. Around this time, let's just call it about 15 minutes or so, we were about to smell game 5. We were all smelling a game 5. Which, let's be honest, I don't care about this thing. To have 5 games, of course, in a finals like this after all the sweeps and pretty much everything else, I think everybody deserves a game 5. And G2 are just literally kicking and screaming and dragging their way to go through. And the bad news is been happen again. I mean, Ben Camille. I mean, who had that in their arsenal? I never thought that Ben Camille will be the biggest difference in the entire game. But here we are. And also on kind of into it a little bit, a lot of times. But he had incredible flanks to catch off Skumon, to catch off Broken Blade most of the times. And once all those kills went through, and Knight, by the way, has a decent Cassiopean game, but he was not like otherworldly, of course. But once those throws come in, just look at the goal lead. G2 have a 3,000k goal lead, which is fine. And then 2,000, and then 2,100, 1,400, 1,100, 800. We're down to like 3 digits, close to gone. And then teetering. And then gone. All the way up to a 26-minute, 35-second victory. And BLG, for the first time ever, are first stand champions. At that point, if you're a Western fan, if you're a Western League of Legends fan at that point, you have to be kicking yourselves, literally kicking yourselves, to know that you were this close to pulling off one of the greatest ever moments to ever happen in League of Legends, to bring Western fans and bring Western, civilization back to where we belong. And you know what? If that happens, LEC and pretty much the rest of the year will be so incredibly talked about, and so much things to learn about it from all of this. But that does not take away from what G2 has done this entire tournament. Guys, just let me tell you something. If you have told me, and I'm going to be brutally honest, if you have told me that G2 coming into first stand with the littlest of expectations, the fact that we're one game away from having lost with the Tortoise being in the tournament, imagine lost with the Tortoise being in the LEC playoffs. That is nuts. Nuts. They were literally one game away from like damnation. Ramp up in playoffs pretty well. Had the incredible, chaotic 5-game series against Common Corp. And then go into first stand with like not so much expectations in their backs, of course. Question about bot lane, question about jungle. Cass, being great, but once he's gone, the rest of the team falls. Broken Blade being not so good. They have questions. This entire team have questions, of course. This entire, time before the tournament even started. I have G2 ranked as 5th. Higher than Lion, of course, because as great as Lion is and as great as Inspired is, I just do not sure about the rest of the team, being collectively enough to overcome the Western team. And after what we've seen from Lion in throughout the tournament, I feel like my rankings have been justified. So, praise be. But even then, after the losing to BLG the first time, I was ready to say, yep, pack it up, G2. It's over. Pack it up, G2. You're going to lose to Fearex, and even then, you might lose to Genji, and it will be BLG, Genji, dominate the finals, and I said it, of course, last night. Genji is going to dominate this entire tournament and dominate the entire year, and the narrative going into, like, the rest of the year will be LCK just dominate the entire region. T1 may win Worlds. Who knows, I guess, as usual, but it will be LCK just dominate this whole thing. But these two series by G2, these two performances by G2 Esports just give Western fans so much hope for the next split. And pretty much turn the entire League of Legends ecosystem this year upside down. Which, for fans like me who wants to see competitive League of Legends, it's a good thing. It's a great thing, of course. Talking about, how disappointing the finals is. But my God, look what we have done. Remember, guys, this is By the way, this is the first time in 7 years that G2 has made it to a finals. This is now back-to-back years in which LEC has made it to first stand finals. Common Corp last year, and then this year, they did it in Sao Paulo. That means that I'm not saying LEC is all the way back, but it just shows that the growth of LEC is still there. It's still there. It's just that competition is being great right now. Skumon, I know the series was not great, but I'll say it right now. Skumon is becoming like the best player on that G2 team. I think he's probably my tournament MVP, in my opinion. In my opinion, he's my tournament MVP. I will break down all of this, once we finish all of that. But I believe that Skumon is probably my tournament MVP in my point. He could be one of my 3 stars of the entire tournament, and my team of the tournament, and my team of the week, which is, by the way, going to come up tomorrow when we wrap up all things first stand, of course. But for now, we got to talk about the moment and the now. If you're a G2 fan, it sucks that it ends this way, and I know your heads is down, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling horrible. But I also want to say thank you so much for what you have bring to this entire tournament, and just bring a level of aggressive we have never seen from any LEC team in the last couple of years, let alone a Western team. And you have now made this year so chaotic, so unpredictable, that it makes everybody gonna watch. Okay, yes, G2 lost, but it's gonna make LEC really interesting right now. It's gonna make LEC really interesting because Core might come revenge, Koi might come revenge, and who knows? Which team will step up? Maybe Vitality, maybe I don't know, Giant X, of course. We don't know, but it's gonna give a lot of hope to Western fans. The sad part about it is that I feel like it's G2 and no one else. It's true. It just almost feels like G2 and no one else, because I don't see LCS teams are doing well. Be honest, I don't think any LCS team is going to do well right now. And consider they are like the beaten sticks for CBLOL right now, I just don't know if they can ever do it. And I'm not sure if any LEC team beyond G2 is just not good enough to do well internationally. Imagine if Koi went to first stand. I just can't. Imagine Common Core make the first stand. Like, I'm not saying, listen, hindsight is 2020, but I just feel like if you're Koi or Common Core, you're basically sitting there and it's like, that victory over Gen G should have been us. It should have been us having that victory over Gen G. Again, hindsight is 2020, but you never know these stuff. It's crazy. It's wild. But the fact that G2 came from literal death in the LEC to having a once-in-a-lifetime performance for all Western fans is so incredible. I cannot be happy for G2, and I hope they can use this as a learning curve and a stepping stone to be better for the rest of the year, going into MSI and also to Worlds. So well done, G2, and I hope you do well. But it is now time for the coronation of BLG and the LPL as a whole. If I would have told you that this would be BLG's very first title, with Knight having the absolute stinker of a tournament, you would have said you're lying, Aki. You're absolutely lying. But holy cow, they did. Holy cow, they did. What a okay. Let's be honest. Viper did not have a great series, of course, to be honest. Knight was okay, but never otherworldly, of course. This was the jungler. This was the Bin and Shun show. This was the Bin and Shun show throughout this entire tournament. And I'm going to tell you something, let's be honest. Bin, let's be honest. The 2 players in particular are so interesting. So I think I listened to Nymera's, of course, stream talking about, the whole thing with BLG, with like playing with different junglers, of course, for the last couple of years. They had Wei, then it was Shadow one time, and then Beidwang, which was a disaster. The last year for BLG was an absolute disaster from start to finish. It even makes, like, I don't know, making to at Worlds feels like fraudulent to many people. And I'm not saying that Shun comes in make it all better, But it did bring some stability that I don't think any team, let alone BLG, can ever have. And of course, they capitalized on the fact that AL was not strong. And by the way, they just kick out their coach, which is typical LPL stuff, I guess. And top esports just throw in. And JDG just fine, but just not great, to be honest. Not great. So I have BLG as my number 2 team going into this. And I was thinking to myself, it will be Gen G and BLG in the finals. And right out, and let's be honest, Gen G, BLG 1 and 2 will be like the easiest pick in like history. It will be the easiest pick in history. It will be a no sleeper pick throughout the entire week, and I'll be fine with that. The fact that, and I'm not taking away from what G2 performed, the fact that G2 take it away from it just even surprised BLG. Surprised all the fans because we were all expected a Knight versus Trophy finals. And then instead we got like an out of nowhere performance by G2 that get us into our BLG G2 finals. And after game 1, I was thinking to myself, BLG are going to like go downhill way too. But credit Ben and John for being absolutely locked in throughout the entire finals and play the best one. I have Ben as my 1 star, Shun as my 2 star, and On as my 3rd star. That is how incredible it did. They shut down Skillmon, of course, which, by the way, I put Skillmon as my team move of the series. I'm not doing this to take away your incredible performance, Skillmon. I'm just saying that performance was just not great from a guy who just dominates his entire tournament. So it is what it is. But Shun was incredible. Ben was, as usual, a godsend, an absolute godsend. The G2 Tormentor. I just feel like G2 has only like won one series when Ben is on the team. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. That this guy just torments the same team over and over and over again, year upon year, and it just feels like if you're a G2 fan, if you're a G2 fan right now, you might be thinking, can we please not have Ben every year? It's killing me. You just can't. But you gotta tip your hat, man. You gotta tip your hat to Ben, to Sean, to Knight, to Viper, to On, and to Danny, who's by the way coaching this team. You just have to tip your hat and just say, well done. Well done. I predicted you guys to win this series, and my prediction was right, pretty much on point. But I think this entire performance by BLG is so significant. So significant to the LPL as a whole. Because I wanted to show you something. Let me just show you something right now. Let's see. So let me just see. Because I want to listen, let me just tell you something. This has been a long time coming if you're an LPL fan. This has been a long time coming if you're an LCP fan. Oh, by the way, LPL fan. This has been a long time coming if you're an LPL fan. The last several years of LPL just getting kicked at in international tournaments is torture. Look at this. The last time LPL won a tournament, and by the way, Medic cast Knight winning that tournament in 2023, mind you. So this is now the second time that Medic cast a Knight winning a tournament. So it is what it is, I guess. And they let's just say were led by the most dominant team in all the world in JDG against this dominant BLG that I mentioned, of course. JDG and BLG were like 1 and 2 in the LPL at the time and in the world at that time. And many people must be thinking, yeah, JDG is going to win Worlds, and then BLG might be a close second, and then Faker happened. Out goes LNG, out goes BLG, out goes JDG, out goes Weibo. Although you can say that Weibo were never supposed to be in the finals, but when T1 just been in the finals, it was an automatic wrap. So 2023 happened. And then 2024 was an absolute disaster. You got the mid-season invitational, which is, by the way, the 9th versus trophy matchups twice over. And then this was a really good dominant Gen G. Just dominating the entire year, of course. I'm saying almost golden rolling, of course. And just beat BLG in the finals, of course, in Chengdu, in China. Then, of course, it was once again the LPL getting killed by Faker again. I watched that series, and by the way, once again, Medic cast that series. Medic is having a baller of the last couple of years, casting international finals. I have to say, missing. I know Medic is getting a lot of shtick some of the times, but you listen. Shout out to Medic, Vedius, as Azael, Atlas, Kobe, Captain Flowers, Laurel, Ox. Shout out to all the people. Shout out to all the people. Emily Rand, of course. Shout out to all the people, the analysts and the casters who are in Sao Paulo to do that much. I know this was a small arena. I know it was almost atmospheric, and I hope Riot can do something about it next year. But you made it work. You made it work. I like the fans being in the stadium, of course, being around here, interact with them. It was cool. Wonderful job. I tip my hat to all the casters, of course, in this tournament. But enough glazing the casters. Back to the LPL years in the wilderness. So, of course, we remember 2024. That was when Faker absolutely clutched the F up. Literally in that series. This was not Faker from 2017. This was Faker in 2024 or 2025 when he has no hands. When he had literally no hands but more brain. And in the last two games, he literally single-handedly won that Worlds. Yeah, that was painful for BLG fans. To see that Faker did this to you? I mean, that hurts. That hurts so much. And then we get to 2025. First stand, Top Esports choked the heck out of them. It was Honor Live Esports tournament to win. HLD and Common Corp in the finals, which is great for Europe, of course, but HLD just dominated the entire tournament. Top Esports actually choked, which is expected, of course. Then, of course, MSI, in which A was legend, step up and becoming incredible, of course. And they were nearly giving us, something to behold. Nearly giving us a Gen G AL finals. But of course, T1 being T1, clutch up, got the all LCK finals, which was really cool. It went to 5 games. I enjoyed that MSI, of course. I enjoyed that MSI in Vancouver, of course. And BLG just having a stinker of an entire tournament. Like, the fact that they should have lost to FlagWest. Be honest to God. FlagWest should have beat BLG. Swear to God, FlagWest should have beat BLG. That's how bad BLG were. And that's how bad the LPL were. BLG were beatable. And that was when, of course, BLG had like a million junglers to sort out, of course. And, of course, you got the EWC, which, by the way, won by Gen G over AL. I know the name is different, but context, of course. And then at Worlds, it was a T1 domination again. AL was so close. So close. And, by the way, probably the best Game 5 we have ever seen from Fearless Draft so far, the entire Fearless era of League of Legends, of course. And we were so close to having, like, T1 being knocked down, AL going through, and we might have a different champion. Maybe KT Roster might win, but it's KT Roster. What do you expect? But no, T1 did T1 things and actually won another international tournament. So going into 2026, many people, including Nymera and all the casters who remotely broadcast the LPL, shout out to these people. I mean, they've been working hard. Sorry that it hurts them, but the fact they actually work hard, cast LPL for so many hours, keep doing all that coverage, and just shine the light on the LPL so great is like, well done. Well freaking done. Listen. That BLG victory is going to give this LPL a much needed boost going into next year. Because going into 2026, nobody, and I mean nobody was expected, the LPL to do well. Nobody was expecting, like the same thing the LEC or the LCS does well. Nobody was expecting the LPL to do well. It was going to be Gen G stuffing all of your faces with domination after domination with the best 5-man lineup of all time. And then for them to do this, it's incredible. Yes, G2 have a little helping hand to this, but do not deny what BLG has done this entire tournament. They had a really rocky showing, of course, against Fearx earlier on. Then they stumped G2, stumped JDG, which is expected, of course. And then many people expected a G2 victory, a G2 Western coronation. But GLG just lock in, do well, and finally, for the first time in a long while, 2,000 plus days of, I think 1,000 plus days, of course, since LPL, of course, won the whole thing. LPL are on top of the world. And you know what? I am proud. I am proud because I believe that this is good for the LPL. This is good for the competition of League of Legends in this year. This is good for everybody. This is good that the LCK have crumbled. Not as much, but just crumbling a little bit to the point of like weakness. That's good. It has bring a lot of competition from BLG, from G2, from the LPL, the LCS, and maybe CBLOL, of course. CBLOL might have some competition, of course, as of this moment. So, yeah, to see all these players having their moment in the sun, it's just so wonderful. Just so wonderful. Look at their smiles. Look at Danny right here. He's just incredibly smiled. Ben just Ben is just Ben. I mean, that face, man, it's just so man. But man, these guys deserve it, man. These guys deserve it. I would have been happier if G2 won it, but man, for LPL, man, for LPL to go through so much over the last 3 years, broadcast being cut, underperformance in international events, and so much questionable rosters and all kind of stuff, and with the whole scheme of what with match fixing and the age restrictions, all kind of stuff, it was dire. The LPL is in dire straits. But listen, and I know firsthand is not the be and all end all trophy with MSI and Worlds. But this is something you can hold and feel like this will feel good. This will feel good. If you're an LPL fan today, good morning and probably good night, of course. Wake up, smell the coffee, because LPL are back. They are back to being top of the world, and I think the League of Legends community is happier for it. And you know what? I should too. So if you want, please watch Nightmare Initialize, cast in LPL matches. Go watch the LPL English broadcast. Give them some love. Watch some best League of Legends because I know I do. I know I do. And just enjoy it. And that's what we're going to do. We're enjoying League of Legends not only for this tournament, for the entirety of MSI and Worlds for this entire year. And speaking of those two, as we transition out of First Stand, we are into phase 2 and 3 of this year's international coordination. We're going to kick off with MSI, by the way. This turn, I think I have more details about it in the LOL. Let me just see. Let's not scramble like him. Let's just not scramble. There you go. Let's just see. Let me just see. Let's just see. Okay. I'm gonna go to the news. Let's just see. Let me just go to the news. Okay. Okay, let's go to the news. Listen, this is a picturesque detail, of course, talking about it. So the MSI tournament will be taking place at Daejeon, South Korea, at the Daejeon Convention Center the 2nd. The playing stage will take place from June 28th to July 1st. Then the bracket stage will take on the 3rd to the 6th, and then the 8th to the 12th, which is like the second part, of course. Upper final July 9th, lower final July 11th, and then the finals on July 12th. I believe this is going to be around where World Cup is. So my God, I'm going to have this is gonna be a hard time for me. It's gonna be a really hard time with the World Cup and everything going on. Like, damn, absolute damn. Now, of course, the format for this is going to be similar to the years past. Double elimination, thank God, we love that. And the playing stage will have the 4-team double elimination bracket that will qualify a single team into our bracket stage. So 4 teams, double elimination, 1 team goes through. Madness. Absolute madness. And I believe this is going to be like best of 5, I guess, or best of 3. They don't have that much details. But the fact that I have 4 teams going through is going to be an absolute bloodbath. The 7 teams that will skip the play-ins and start in the bracket stage are the 1 seed from each region, as well as the 2nd seed of the highest ranking 2 seed region from First Stand. Meaning that, by the way, BLG's victory means that the LPL are now granted another seed, yes, into the tournament. Although you can say that I think it's 3 seeds. I don't know, but I think you say that LPL gets another seed towards MSI. So, yeah, you got 2 teams from the LCK, LCS, LCP, LEC, and LPL, which is 10 total, and 1 team from CBLOL. Like, oh, CBLOL fans are like, why? 1 slot again? Calm down. Calm down, CBLOL fans. Good news is on the way. Good news is on the way. Just calm down, CBLOL fans. The good news will come. In case many people knows, ticket sales for MSI 2026 will be released in Inter Park and give chance to go to seats. Global ticket sales with the passport requires, and all of these will be done on April 21st, which are MasterCard, of course. General sales on April 23rd. For the Korean fans, it's for May 21st. And this is huge. The stadium will be huge. Wait. Let me just see. Let me just type something. Let me just do my Google research about this stadium and see how cool it is. How cool it is, by the way. Let me just look at how cool it is. Let me see how cool it is. Ooh, okay. Wow. Ooh. I think right here is where the stadium is. This whole entire thing right here is where this entire variant is. It looks so clean. So clean right now. We didn't even get to see the inside. There's no inside part. I think this building is actually new and it's gonna be opened up. But my God, this is gonna be so good for a national tournament. And by the way, all the matches will be taking place in one stadium, which is great, I guess. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be absolute fun doing MSI. And I will do my coverage on MSI maybe sometime soon. Who knows? But now for Worlds. This is going to be a huge part, by the way. By the way, this is the Barclays Center, by the way. This is where the Worlds final will take place. I know this is... I want Madison Square Garden. But Brooklyn, New York with the Barclays Center is pretty much cash money. It's cool. I've seen Brooklyn Stadium. I've seen a few Nets games to know that this stadium looks cool. And also I saw like Liberty games, of course. Shout out to the Liberty, by the way. And by the way, WNBA is back. After all the CBA talks and all that stuff, it's back. Well done. Well done. Long pain, but they're worth it. Anyways, Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, where the World Final will take place. And I said, I am all for it. I am all for it. And let's just read a couple more. The format for World 2026 will largely mirror 2025. Oh, Swiss stage again. Oh, boy. Yeah, I feel pain. I just want to hurt myself. Oh, it is what it is. I don't know what you're going to do. I want double elimination. I want everything. But you know what? Go Pound Sand, I guess. It's with updates to the play-ins format and regional seeding. As part of these updates, we reviewed the regional allocations for World 2026 and grant CBLOL an additional slot at the event. Let me just read this again. Will grant CBLOL an additional slot at the event. You did it, CBLOL. You did it, CBLOL. After all these years of suffering, all that tattoo, press conference after the America's Cup, you have finally get a freaking slot. And you have earned it. CBLOL have been grinding and murking for years and years and years. And now they are finally get their just rewards. And you know what? You deserve it. CBLOL getting another slot at Worlds. Absolutely deserve it. Now, do I believe that they should have like another slot with 3? Fine. I think they should have. But this is better than nothing. This is literally better than nothing. So let's just talk about the teams that will qualify. The 19 teams that will qualify are 3 teams from the LCK, LCS, LCP, LEC, and LPL, 2 from CBLOL, 1 team, which is the MSI champion, and an additional team from the second place region in MSI. So it's the best region, of course, from MSI, which, by the way, is going to make this first stand tournament more important into leading for MSI, of course, and make MSI more important for Worlds. So it's kind of like a domino effect, of course. The playing stage will feature 4 teams competing in a double elimination best of 5 bracket with 1 team advanced to the Swiss stage, similar to MSI, of course. Seeding for all qualified teams will be determined based on regional performance, including results from MSI 2026, and will be announced at a later date. You could have just done the global rankings, but I digress again. Now, the locations. Yeah, the locations are going to be a little bit different. Allen, Texas, of course, will do the quarterfinals, semifinals, of course, and Swiss stage for the entirety. It will take place at the Credit Union of Texas Events Center. I believe this is where the LTA... Oh, my God, I have to say those words. LTA finals take place. I believe this is where the LTA finals take place. Yeah, this is where the I think this is where the Oh no, I don't think it. Yeah, this. Yeah, this is by the way where the LTA finals take place, in which FlyQuest beat Vivo Kians to win the trophy. And thank God we don't have to talk about LTA again because I will hurl if I say those words. But this is where, of course, the event happened, and it's, by the way, it looks cool. But the fact we only have one stadium to do this final without. And by the way, I'm not gonna. As a let me just rant a little bit. Of course, we're celebrating America 250. Okay, we're celebrating 250 years of everything that is good and bad about America in those last 250 years. Why can't we just go to places like Philadelphia and Miami and Las Vegas? You know, spread this whole thing around. I can understand cost and everything like that and moving around the sets, and that's fine. Fine. I understand that. But even I could just say that, come on, we Texas for like Swiss stage quarterfinals and semifinals. Like, what the hell? What the hell? I mean, come on, man. But for play-ins, it's a little bit different. Due to a few logistical challenges, we're adjusting our plans and hosting the play-in stage at the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles before transitioning to Allen, Texas for the previously announced stages. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Oh, again, play-in stage in a small studio. Hold up. Wait a minute. Remember, this is for play-in stage, okay? This is for play-in stage, not for the big event. The big event would still take place in Allen, Texas, which is fine, just fine. But to have a play-in event in a small arena before gradually moving up to a bigger arena and an even more bigger arena for Brooklyn for the finals in Brooklyn, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm okay with it considering the circumstances. And then finally, for the World's Finals, of course, it's heading to Brooklyn. For the first, it's yeah for the Brooklyn Center for one of the biggest arenas ever, and it's a big night, of course, for League of Legends. I've been to Brooklyn. By the way, I think my uncle Roy and I went to Brooklyn. I went to New York a couple of times, not all of New York, but I went to New York. I've seen Brooklyn, of course. I think I've seen part of like the Brooklyn Center when me and my mom were traveling, of course, for the first time, and listen, Brooklyn is a lovely place. Well, okay, I haven't been around, but Brooklyn is a really nice place, and consider the NA crowd and all this kind of stuff. It's a huge thing. The question is, consider where we are right now. Are we gonna get some Western hope to make these NA fans go crazy? Because if we don't have Western hope, listen, I get the LCK and LPL crowds will be showing up, but if we don't have Western hope, the people will tune in out. It is what it is, I guess. Worlds will run from October 15 to November 14, with each stage hosted across multiple series. October 15 and 18 at the playing stage at Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles. October 23rd and 26th and October 28th and Halloween. Credit Union and Texas Event Center in Allen, Texas. And a knockout stage from the 3rd to the 8th at the Texas Arena, with the quarterfinals of the 3rd from the 6th, and then semifinals one day after that, and then the 8th. So it's guys from the 3rd to the 8th. It's going to be quarterfinals and semifinals. And then the grand final will take place on the 14th of November in Barclays Center. Tickets for 2026 will be released mid-late July, and we stay tuned for updates. So, what's my reaction to all of this? I believe that the fact that CBLOL gets one additional slot is going to be like manna from heaven if you're a CBLOL fan. You've been waiting for this for so long. You've been asking for this. But now you have finally got your just desserts. And you know what? I cannot be happy. I cannot be happy for you guys. But other than that, MSI is the same. Worlds is the same. I know. There'll be a lot of complaints, but it is what it is. Pound sand if you want to. But yeah, this is gonna be fun. The fact that we get in this all after first stand, and by the way, this was during first stand. This was around game one of first stand. For having all of these details around first stand, it just sets us up to what could be an unpredictable year. Consider how first stand ended. It's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be an incredible year for League of Legends, and incredible for my content and for people who are watching. And I thank you all for all your support throughout first stand. It has been a blast doing all the first stand report with you. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be doing the stars of the week, stars of the tournament, by the way, and my team of the tournament. and we're gonna finish breaking down first stand and just end it, and then we transition into the spring split of the league phase. So thank you all for watching this first stand report, and for first stand and for all the things that is first stand. Thank you to all the Brazilian people who's shown up and probably watching my channel, I guess. If you don't, fine. But thank you all for doing it. On behalf of everybody else and myself, I wish you all a great week. Congratulations to BLG on winning it. Well played, G2, and thank you for giving Western hope. And I'll see you all next time. Ciao, everyone.